Hello, dear viewer. My name is GrifterTheNoob, and today I'd like to show you how I single-handedly defeated the cruel Canadian tyrant known as Hera, and became the greatest AoE 2 player of all time. Those of you that know me may be thinking to yourself, Grifter, you suck at this game. You are quite possibly the worst AoE 2 player to ever live. How could you have possibly beaten the #1 AoE 2 player in the world? Well, buckle in, dear viewer, because you're about to witness a video that Hera never wanted you to see. It started off like any other day. I just woken up around 2 p.m. and started warming up my breakfast pizza pocket. It was pepperoni with the garlic crust. I had just finished my magnum opus the night before, a build order guide the likes of which the AoE 2 community had never seen. As I sat down to enjoy my cuisine, I thought to myself, the world needs to see this video. So I grabbed my mom's credit card and donated $5 to Hera in hopes that he would help spread the word. His response was shocking, to say the least.
I just finished a build order vid on my YouTube channel called GrifterTheNoob. I called it the greatest AoE 2 build order guide ever created. Guys, he's stepping on my turf. Should I check him out?
He's stepping on my turf.
Rather than congratulating me on breaking the current meta, he became enraged. He accused me of stepping on his turf and closed out of the video, hoping to deprive his viewers of valuable game-winning information. But it was too late. The video went viral almost immediately. Later that night, I noticed a message from Hera himself. The message read, Grifter, I've had enough of your shit, guy. I make build order guides for a living, and you think you can just come along and make the greatest build order guide of all time and get away with it, eh? I challenge you to fight me 1v1, then we'll see whose build order is best. Bitch. P.S. Sorry, friend. My answer was simple. I'm not your friend, buddy. My honor had been called into question. There was no doubt about that. What else could I expect? I had unleashed powerful information into the AoE 2 community that could threaten to usurp Hera of his throne. As I sipped my Mountain Dew, the blue kind, I don't like the original, I thought to myself, I must now destroy and humiliate a man that I respect dearly. This will be a dark day for the Age of Empires, but it must be done. I donned my ceremonial role-playing cloak and logged into the game. Hera invited me to a lobby instantly, as if he'd been waiting there for hours. I reviewed the map settings. Of course he chose Arena. He knew that there was no way he stood a chance against me on an open map. He needed every advantage that he could get. What he didn't know was that my unstoppable build order also worked on closed maps. I swiftly and dramatically clicked on the ready button and the game begun. The first thing that I noticed was that Hera was using a Smurf account. He had to cover his bases in case of a loss, of course, but this video will serve as proof. My Cheeto-stained fingers flew across the keyboard at lightning speed as I executed my build order to perfection. I knew that in order to defeat a ruthless and cunning opponent like Hera, there could be no mistakes. This was a matter of life and death, after all. Upon reaching the feudal age, I valiantly constructed a market and a blacksmith and fearlessly clicked up to the castle age. Then the unthinkable happened. He managed to slip through my defenses with his scout. Now, a lesser player may have resigned then and there, but I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of a cheap win. I masterfully disposed of the scout using the power of my peasant army. I then constructed not one, but 2 additional town centers, which I absolutely had the food economy to sustain. It was now time for the War of the Relics. I immediately parked my scout at the closest relic outside his base, knowing that's where he'd go first. He sent monk after monk, but it was to no avail. My scout defended the relic fearlessly until one of my own monks arrived and stole the relic from under his nose. After securing 3 more relics, I decided to be merciful and grant my opponent the final of the relics in the map. Hera has provided me with hours of entertainment, I thought to myself. I can't utterly humiliate him with a relic victory. That was my first mistake, dear viewer, because I'll tell you right now that my mercy would not be repaid by the Canadian. He was out for blood. Our scores were neck and neck. I thought for sure that he would be a man of honor and advise me when he was ready for battle, as is tradition. I couldn't have been more wrong. You see, instead of following the unspoken rules of the game and allowing me to construct an army in the post-Imperial Age, he threw me a curveball. He advanced to the Imperial Age before I had even clicked up. He began his assault almost immediately, bombarding my walls with a legion of scorpions and halberdiers. I had never been so disrespected. I had no choice but to construct a castle to defend my meager economy. He sent wave after wave of units, but no matter what he tried, he couldn't break through my defenses. At this point, he had taken complete map control. As I sat inside my base, I began to wonder if it was over for the noble Byzantine people. No, I could not allow my kingdom to fall so easily, even to an honorless Canadian tyrant. There was too much on the line. It was at that moment that I hatched a plan that could only be described as the greatest strategical maneuver in the history of mankind. But we'll get to that in a moment. I had no choice but to play defensively, thwarting his attacks with castle fire and cavalry, but eventually it wasn't enough. Using his Canadian siege, he demolished my castles and broke through my walls. Hera, stop this madness! What are you doing?
Fuck you, buddy!
At this point, he was sure that he had won the game. He deleted his walls and began spamming 105 in a brazen act of bad manners. I can only imagine the look of satisfaction on his smug Canadian face as he tore through my economy and razed my buildings to the ground. But there's one thing that the Canadian didn't count on. I'm an American, and America always wins. Hera frantically spammed out units as my Yankee army besieged his base, but it was no use. The Mountie stood no chance against the great American military. Today, these maple syrup drinking Canadians will learn a valuable lesson. You don't fuck with America. I left his base in ruins, but he refused to resign, forcing me to dispose of every villager on the map. Once he realized the battle was over, Hera retreated to his Fortress of Solitude to pick on more Norwegians. He learned that America was off limits, but how long would it be before he was back? There was no way of knowing what the Canuck was planning next. But whatever it is, I'll be ready. Hera, whenever you feel like redeeming yourself in the eyes of the community, you just let me know. I will gladly fight you in the arena again, or anywhere you please, in the name of America. Bring it on, buddy.
America!